Hi, this is Brendan from Watto Training, and in this tutorial we're looking at video evidence requirements for instructors enrolled with Watto Training RTO 40791 for the TLI 41218 Certificate 4 in Transport Logistics Road Transport Car Driving Instruction Qualification. Course description, source training.gov.au. This qualification is for those engaged in driving instructor job roles within the transport and logistics industry. It includes the performance of a broad range of skilled applications, including requirements to evaluate and analyze current practices, to develop new criteria and procedures for performing current practices, and to provide some leadership and guidance to others in applying skills and planning skill development. This qualification is currently cited as meeting part of the requirements for certification as a motor vehicle driving instructor as defined by relevant state, territory licensing and regulatory requirements. The units that make up this qualification are as follows: maintain business records, design and develop learning programs, follow work health and safety procedures, work in a socially diverse environment, apply customer service skills, complete induction to the transport industry, manage personal work priorities and professional development, operate a commercial vehicle, apply safe car driving behaviours, provide work skill instruction, conduct learner-driver training, and develop safe car driving behaviours in others. I've highlighted the final 5 there because they're the ones where a lot of the practical components come in for the video evidence. Assessment requirements, and note down the bottom of any of these slides if I have taken this information directly from the ASQL website. I've referenced it down the bottom. Each unit of competency contains assessment requirements grouped into 3 areas: performance evidence, knowledge evidence, and assessment conditions. Performance evidence and knowledge evidence describe what a student must demonstrate in order to be considered competent. Assessment conditions describe the conditions under which a student must demonstrate this, including any specific requirements for resources, trainers and assessors, and the context for assessment. To inform a judgment about whether a learner has achieved competency, a registered training organisation, an RTO, must gather a range of evidence of the learner's competence. This evidence is gathered from a variety of sources in accordance with the RTO's strategies for training and assessment. The evidence is then assessed to determine whether an individual can perform to the standard expected in the workplace as expressed in the relevant endorsed unit of competency or module. Video evidence. One form of evidence some Watto Training TLI 41218 and TLI 41318 students choose to submit is video evidence. Video evidence is often a powerful way to capture the student demonstrating the practical application of their knowledge and skills. Note, it is usually not the only form of assessment, but it is the focus of this tutorial. Assessment of evidence and judgment about competency must be undertaken by a person who meets the specific requirements for an assessor in the standards of Registered Training Organisations RTOs 2015. In some cases, an assessor cannot directly gather all the required evidence that supports a competency judgment. In these cases, the evidence may be gathered or reported by other people. This type of evidence is categorized as supplementary evidence. Evidence is information which, when matched against a unit of competency or module, provides proof of competency. Evidence can take many forms and be gathered from a number of sources. Evidence can be categorized as direct, indirect, or supplementary. Direct evidence is evidence that can be observed or witnessed by the assessor. This could include observation of workplace performance, oral questioning, demonstration, or challenge test. Indirect evidence is evidence of a candidate's work that can be reviewed or examined by the assessor. This could include finished products, written assignments or tests, a portfolio of previous work performed. Supplementary evidence is additional evidence presented to assessors to support a candidate's claim for competence. This could include reports from supervisors, colleagues and/or clients, testimonials from employers, work diaries, evidence of training. Is there a hierarchy of evidence? It is important to understand that when it comes to assessment, there is no hierarchy of evidence. Department of Education, Training and Youth Affairs, 2001, page 41. While training packages and accredited courses describe the outcomes of assessment and provide advice about the scope and context for assessment, neither the standards for RTOs 2015 nor training product guidelines prescribe exactly what type of evidence or how much evidence must be collected. Rather, the RTO must reach an appropriate balance and ensure that overall the evidence collected meets the rules of evidence: validity, sufficiency, currency, and authenticity. Validity. The evidence presented demonstrates the learner has the skills, knowledge, and attributes as described in the module or unit of competency and associated assessment requirements. Sufficiency. The quality, quantity, and relevance of evidence presented enables a judgment to be made of a learner's competency. Currency. The evidence presented is from either the present or the very recent past. Authenticity. The evidence presented for assessment is the learner's own work. It is the quality of all evidence collected, including any supplementary evidence collected by another party, that is important to making a sound judgment about competence rather than the quantity, type, and form of evidence, where it was collected or who collected it. Using an assessor or other parties to collect evidence. When and why might an assessor use other parties to collect evidence? Involving another party in the collection of evidence allows assessors to gather authentic and valid evidence in difficult circumstances in a cost-effective way. It is common to use another party for evidence gathering in cases where workplace evidence is required, but where it is not possible for the assessor to observe the learner at work. Where third-party reports are used. Here's some best practice points from the ASQL website. Clearly define in the assessment tools what type of third-party report it is, an actual assessment or supplementary assessment. Provide clear advice to trainers, assessors on who can be a third party and what the relationship is between the student and the assessor. For example, whether the third party is required to be a supervisor or a manager. Ensure any third parties who are conducting actual assessments hold the relevant qualifications or competencies as required by the training package. Provide sufficient third-party instructions. Third-party reports should be more than a direct cut and paste of the unit of competency requirements, and you should provide guidance on what the third party needs to observe to make a judgment of competence, keeping in mind that third parties may not be experienced in conducting these tasks. Ensure the workplace supervisor is not the main or only observer of workplace performance. For a student to be assessed as competent, an RTO must ensure the student has absorbed the knowledge, developed the skills, can combine the knowledge and skills to demonstrate ability to perform relevant tasks in a variety of workplace situations or accurately simulated workplace situations. Consistency in performance and a consistent ability to demonstrate skills when performing tasks. Understanding of what they are doing and why when performing tasks. Ability to integrate performance with understanding to show they are able to adapt to different contexts and environments. A student must be assessed against all of the tasks identified in the elements of the unit or module. Demonstrate they are capable of performing these tasks to an acceptable level. Here is a joint ASQA and TEQSA statement regarding regulatory flexibility released 20 March 2020. All AQF training and assessment must meet high quality standards regardless of the location of the student and the mode of delivery. As long as the student remains enrolled with their provider and the assessment requirements of the course allow it, the location of the student and the mode of delivery should not form an impediment to the attainment of an Australian qualification. National regulators, including ASQA and TEQSA, will be flexible in order to support students to study online, either in Australia or offshore. Providers should assure themselves that such arrangements maintain assessment and quality standards and are appropriately documented. Not all qualifications are suited to online learning. This may include those with a mandatory work placement. If providers have questions about their specific circumstances, they should contact their relevant regulator. The virtual classroom. The virtual classroom is used to provide training in relation to assessment of the required knowledge. Students communicate with the trainer and assessor through their headphones or microphones, or microphones during the virtual classroom sessions. Demonstration of practical skills. For the demonstration of practical skills, photos and videos of the student performing the practical task are taken by a third party. A third-party report is completed to record tasks performed by the student. The student holds up their driver's license to the camera at the beginning of each practical demonstration video to confirm that the student performing the task is the student enrolled. Phone conversation. Finally, the trainer and assessor calls the student after the submission of completed assessments and asks questions relevant to the assessment. Here's a picture of me. What do I use to collect video? On the left, we've got an iPhone sitting in a little cradle that was purchased from JB Hi-Fi. You can tighten up the little clamp there to hold the phone. And there's a little suction cup on the far right side where you can hook it up to either the front of the windscreen or the side of the windscreen. And it depends on what you're demonstrating in your videos. How do I record a video on my phone? My iPhone, I should be clear. Choose video mode, tap the record button or press either volume button to start recording. While recording, you can do the following. Press the white shutter button to snap a still photo. Pinch the screen to zoom in and out. Tap the record button or press either volume button to stop recording. By default, video records at 30 frames per second. Depending on your model, you can choose other frame rates and video resolution settings in the settings, camera, record video. The faster the frame rate and the higher the resolution, the larger the resulting video file. Here's a demo of me recording a little toy car going across the table using an iPhone. Okay, now here's a second video that was taken of a truck going around a corner. The downside with this video is we cannot see who's driving and we cannot see who is instructing. So in terms of video evidence, this would be seen as not very useful. Sending the video from my iPhone to my computer. If you take a look on the right of screen, you can see that that is a screenshot of an iPhone. There's an arrow on the left of the screen that says push this button. So that little square with the arrow coming up the top is how you upload the video to your computer. Choose AirDrop, bottom right, again push that. to send to your computer, iPad, someone else's iPhone nearby. Again, here's another shot of the phone. I've got Mac, iPad, and another iPhone. Select the device that you want to send the video to. At the top right of your computer, a notification will appear allowing you to open the video/image, then save it. How did I learn how to do this? YouTube. Also, asking questions, trial and error. You don't have to make video evidence which is Steven Spielberg quality. Some key points that I would have is keep the camera still. Don't turn your back to the camera. It's very difficult to get clear audio recordings on extremely windy days or by the rolling surf. So try and find somewhere nice and quiet where there's not too much traffic around, not too many loud engines. Speak clearly and concisely. I've made a number of other videos to support this one on specifics of what's required. Please feel free to watch those, and if you have any questions, pop me an email or pop a question on the YouTube channel, and I'll endeavor to address those issues. Again, I want to stress that video evidence is not the only form of evidence, but it's one that particularly suits certain clients in certain situations, e.g. remote areas. And we would encourage people to not lose heart because they might not be very technical. I can certainly say I am certainly not that way, but once you overcome some of the initial challenges with it and get it troubleshooting your way through it, it can be extremely effective way of gathering video evidence of your knowledge, skills, and abilities. Okay, this has been Brendan for What I Training, and thank you for listening.